Right, and we're back. It's time, boys. I know you guys have been waiting for it. It's the moment you're waiting for. Usually when I know what you guys think, right? And you could see, John, like we have a bad rep in terms of like when we speak about artists that we don't think like we're one of Jesus's disciples. People just think we intend to do these reviews and just completely just cream on them. But usually I'm like, okay, you know what? Cool. Fair enough. Maybe sometimes we'll do that and we'll just have a guest on. But, some of the guests just didn't want to come on the show. I mean, take from that what you will.
Cool.
I mean,
It's
it is what it is.
I will say, on that line, I think that's what surprised people about J. Cole's album.
Really?
When we reviewed it, they were like, oh, so you guys did like something. It's like, well, yeah, just it wasn't album of the year, but there were still some interesting developments in his flow arsenal, or whatever you want to say. But yeah, it's because we're capable of giving the good and the bad. Something that a lot of reviews, especially from big magazines and newspapers,
you have to get into that.
100% incapable of. But anyway. Yeah. Little intro. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, like John says, we're not just like some fucking light switch where it's either on or off. Like, if so, like, I don't know why. I don't think we've ever given that take apart from maybe Chance the Rapper's album, where an album is either completely trash or it's album of the year. But that's because it's the only like bloody reviews people can really just interpret and stick with. If I say, but this, that, and the other, people don't know how to take that. Like,
so wait, was it good or not?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Is it good or bad? Like, you're saying a lot of things, but I don't know if you think it's good or not. Like, people don't know how to process that at all, did it? So, yeah, we're here, guys. It's been, I think, do you know what I mean? You would think it's been like 2 years since this album's dropped. It's only been like it's been a month. It's been a month. Do you know what I mean? It's been a month. But whatever. We know how UK fans are. Like, they expect their artists to drop like every year because D Block Europe do it apparently. But whatever. So yeah, Dave is back. The Prodigal Son is back. He dropped his sophomore album. We are all alone in this together. So it came out, what was it, mid-July or something like that. I was a bit surprised it was coming out. I think given the way his year was looking, it looked like he had other projects to focus on. Obviously, the David Attenborough stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. Producing for Fredo. He had the Children of the Internet thing. I was like, okay, cool. This is a perfect way to spend your free time. Like, he was chilling in LA. I thought, okay, so he's just going to spend the year doing some features, doing some producer chops. He's going to keep his name relevant. And then next year, the album's going to come. And then the album came real soon. Like, I was like, because people are gagging for it. And one thing I will say, also, you can never confirm these things, right? You can never confirm them. But I do think Dave definitely listens to the audience, right? So I think people were begging him to drop, like, please drop. And then think he was like, okay, yeah, soon, guys, I'm gonna get into the studio.
He's young, it's hard when you're young, I think.
Yeah, 100%. But when he said, okay, guys, I'm gonna go to the studio now, I thought he was joking. But I think there's a part of truth to this. Because I thought, he's not going to just get into the studio now and drop an album this year. I thought, okay, he's got some songs and he's going to work on them. Obviously, to some extent, that is a bit of a joke. Because songs like Verdansk were out like a year prior. But I think there's some truth to that. I do think some of these songs came out quite recently. And I think maybe that's kind of something that needs to be explored a bit more when we talk about this record. But yeah, so actually, before we can even get into the album, so like, how were you kind of expecting Dave to kind of come, just given like what we were talking about? Like, he produced for Fredo, Psychodrama was like a smash hit, like, generally people still love it to this day. Yeah. And obviously, doing these all side projects.
I think I was expecting something to come this year. Like you say, when artists are young and when there's so much, when the public are so ready for an album, are just like, when you're dropping. I think it's quite difficult to ignore that and to continue on with whatever your process is. Like you're saying, he might have had a couple of songs that he was like, he had in the locker that he was working on. He might have had a particular concept that he was going for, and that might have changed. I don't know how to think about that. Because you'd like to think that an album with this kind of theme running through it would have not just been thought up on the spot. And I don't know. We'll get into what we think of whether that's true. But yeah, I think I was expecting him to drop this year, especially with the production on Fredo's album.
Okay, yeah.
That kind of gave me a hint that he was like back and like actively working. And I thought it'd be I guess I thought it'd be weird if it went a whole year of him just having production credits and appearing on a few songs here and there.
Okay, yeah, I get what you mean. I think if you said like the latter part of this year, like towards November, I'll be like, okay, cool, fair enough. I don't think I was expecting it smack dab in the middle of summer, especially an album with this theme and everything like that. So, no, I get what you mean. Don't worry, it's not like it's the worst time. Obviously, it's been like 2.5 years since Psychodrama, something like that. So it's not the worst time. But yeah, I just thought because of the pedigree of that album, not my opinion, just public opinion, but like because of the pedigree of that album, I thought, okay, cool, he's just gonna let that run off. Like Mercury Prize winner on your first album, that's pretty impressive. I guess looking back at Psychodrama, just quickly, like how do you feel about it, like over time? Like, has your thoughts kind of evolved over time, or like, yeah, where do you stand with the album at the moment?
I don't think my opinion's changed too much in it. I think it's hard to look at it in isolation of this album now, because obviously everything we've got there, we've kind of got, what's the word? Words are failing me now. Where like something is just like tenfold. So like certain emotions or certain like production techniques we see on Psychodrama, we just get here, tenfold. There's a word, it's a great word, but I can't think of it. But anyway, yeah. So no, I mean, I enjoyed Psychodrama. I think, I enjoyed Psychodrama, but I don't think my opinions have changed dramatically over the last 2 years.
Okay, fair enough. Same here, really. Like, I think I liked it when it came out, but I didn't think it was perfect. I still like it now. I just don't think it's perfect. Like,
I don't think it's aged badly. I think it's still sounds great.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think what I thought was good and bad about the album hasn't really changed. I think it was very clear what was good about the album in terms of like, I think a lot of people would agree now. that's the worst part when this album came out. Like, this album came out just as when people were finally starting to accept that maybe the production of Psychodrama wasn't that great. Like 2 years later, I think we finally got to a point where it's like, okay, it wasn't that great. And there are some songs that could have been left out. We're just getting to that agreement. Obviously, it just kind of comes again. So yeah, obviously, I think, very heavily reliant on the piano. I think, again, I feel like we're going to repeat ourselves a lot, but we're talking about Psychodrama. I feel like there was a lot of emphasis on like witty one-liners rather than fleshing out the songs. I feel like some of the songs didn't fit the Psychodrama theme, which, okay, yes, maybe in other albums that might not matter, but he was so heavy-handed with the theme. It's just surprising when you just have songs like Disaster pop out of nowhere, which is a good song, where it's like, okay, but what happened to all that mental health stuff you were talking about and the therapist in the background? Like, how does this fit in? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just going to be a bit random, but first album, thought there was a lot of promise, so I was like, okay, cool, we'll see where this one goes. I know there was a comment from Daniel that you wanted to touch on. I actually don't know the full-on quote, but yeah, it was something to do in regards to Psychodrama, yes?
Yes.
Or Dave in
general. Daniel made a comment. I think I'd tweeted something about how the conversation has already dried up on the album. And obviously, Daniel's completely right. It's still doing numbers. I think isn't it back up to number 1?
Yeah.
It dropped to number 2, went back up to number 1. But yeah, I think my point is just about like people seem to have like jumped on the album for the first couple of days, and then the conversation dried up. And Daniel's fully right. It's probably part of like the echo chamber that I'm in, and that he's in, that we're all in, that we're like, people are already moved on. So yeah, he's probably right in that sense.
Fair.
But I will also just say that it's also wider than that, because I feel like it's hard to explain from who, but other albums seem to generate and continue to generate more conversation. And that's when you start taking notice. Like, I don't know, Tyler the Creator, people are still talking about that in my echo chamber. Yeah. I'm still hearing from people about it. People are still talking about the songs. But with Dave, it seemed to like be full on like 100% volume for the first like 4 or 5 days. And then it just kind of disappeared.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, fair enough. We are also South London as Dave's fan base is, so I get that. But I think there's nothing wrong with talks like dying down if it's like proportional to the album's quality, because like obviously we've mentioned this before, like the reviews on the Days album is like absolutely egregious in my opinion. And if you're gonna basically say it's an album of this caliber, I need like studies done on the album, like no joke. Like I'm saying, like, but this is why we don't just spew out fucking 10s or 9s all the time, because like if we're gonna say an album's that level, it needs to be studied. Like it's a fucking great album. I need someone to go in and dissect the shit out of this motherfucker. But the fact that we haven't even got that in any like the conversation completely dried out, then it's like, okay, it must have just been all right. Maybe you've already figured it out. Do you know what I mean? Like if people just said, oh, it's all right, and the conversation died down, then that's fair. But if you can't be calling the record a 10 and have no, oh, here's the samples they used, or here's how this song connected to this song, or you know, here's how, you know what I mean, something about the album that kind of teaches you more about the album.
Yeah. I think the reviews for this have been, I think, appalling. Like quality reviews.
Yeah.
And I'm talking from all sources. I'm talking from like your Clash, Guardian, Independent, all of these newspapers, all of these websites. I think the lowest review came from Pitchfork, and they gave it like a 7.3. And that was like an outlier. Like the rest of them were crazy. 9 or 10. And then it was like, damn, 7.3 from Pitchfork. You're like, that sounds harsh, but that 7 is a good grade from Pitchfork. Like, yeah. And I think that's I kind of started on it earlier, but like, if you're reviewing an album and you're not giving it a 10, I need to know exactly why. I need to actually have a balanced.
Yeah.
You need to tell me what's missing. And for those reviews that are actually giving it a 10. It's a good album. We'll go into it. It's a very, like, there are moments of like very, very good music, but a 10 is just, like you're saying, 10 needs studies. Like essays do need to be written if it's a 10. It's not To Pimp a Butterfly, but yeah.
I mean, most albums aren't. I mean, that's why
that's why most albums aren't a 10.
Yeah, and that's why that is still the measuring stick 6 fucking years later. You know, like, you know, people are still using To Pimp a Butterfly as that like kind of litmus test. But yeah, you know what? As we did with Watch the Throne, I mean, it was fun last time, so we'll do it again. We'll kind of start off with the questions. I think we'll start with the questions this one instead of our general thoughts. So I'll pick out one of these. I'm gonna go at random. So, what were the expectations before the release of We're All Alone in This Together, and how didn't he meet them? Okay, so good question. So my expectations, I mean, prior to the album cover and title being released, I had no expectations. I didn't know which way he was going to go with this album or the next album. I had no expectations. So that's pretty straightforward. I think once I saw the cover and I saw the title, I was like, oh, like he's going to be, I think he was kind of basically take Psychodrama and expand it to a wider societal scale. Like, do you know what I mean? So basically it's like, okay, Psychodrama is about him and how his like life and his like thing, like the things that happened in his life kind of affected him, and he's psychoanalyzing himself. And now we're all alone this together, basically like, okay, we all have something that we're dealing with, and kind of like unifying all of us in that sense. So I thought, okay, so kind of like that, so kind of like doubling down on the themes of Psychodrama. That's kind of what I thought going in.
And in terms of like the album art as well, just include that with it.
Yeah, 100%. That like you see a guy like stranded on a boat. I'm not expecting songs like Clash, if I'm being honest. So I'm just being straight up in it. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, bro. So he's not. I thought there was gonna be no like hard hitters on this album, like at all. I thought it was gonna be like straight, like serious to work. And I'm not saying that's what he needs to do. I just thought that's what was going to happen. Yeah. So so he didn't meet my expectations that way. I was not expecting like Lazarus or, you know, Verdansk or Clash. Yeah, I wasn't expecting songs like this. Trio, like, isn't it? But I was expecting songs more like Three Rivers, Heart Attack, Survivor's Guilt, which we did get. So I think that's how he didn't meet him. What about you?
I think similar. I was expecting more kind of like ballad types, especially knowing that James Blake had such a hand in the production. He obviously co-produced 3 songs, including the one that he's actually featured on. I was expecting more ballads. I was expecting like a kind of R&B element with like Snow Allegra on it as well. I will say, similar to your point in terms of how did he not meet it, I didn't expect him to, and this isn't in a like a negative or a positive way in terms of not what I was expecting. I didn't expect such a varied soundscape.
Yes.
And I think once we look into like song by song, I'd say there's like a good 5 different types of sounds that we get on there. From I might as well mention that, like from drill to kind of the R&B, to we have bits of gospel in there. We have obviously just like rap, hip hop, and then we have elements, I'd say like bits of like electronic almost in there. The James Blake kind of electro pop.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I think it was much more varied than I thought it was going to be, for better or for worse.
Okay, cool. Let's go into our general thoughts now. So here's what general thoughts on what overall. How do you feel about the album currently?
Well, I can kind of expand on that. Like, he exceeded my expectations in terms of I think he really did develop his kind of like lyrical abilities. Like, I think he, in those kind of some of the longer ballads, the longer songs, he, like Heart Attack and Three Rivers in particular, like that, those songs are brilliant. Like, whether they should have been 9 minutes or could have been cut down to 6.5. Like, they're like his songwriting, his poetry essentially for the songs where, I mean, just the instruments cut out and he's just still going. Like really, really hard hitting songs, like really emotive, like almost like gut wrenching on Three Rivers, where he's like joining those three kind of narratives together. I think in that sense, he's really, his like pen game in that sense is really matured. And for someone who's still 23, like that can go on and become even better. And the kind of the shortcomings of this album, I think can be rectified. And I think his poetry is only gonna get better. In terms of the downsides, I think elements of production, song choice, maybe track listing, because we kind of get those three songs, a little pocket in the middle where I'm like, interesting, cool, how does this work with the rest of the album? So yeah, production hasn't evolved in the way that I would have liked.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think, a couple of misses with the songs.
Fair. Okay, cool. So I won't be as nice as John is being right now. But I think this album is wildly inconsistent. And this is the same thing I think about Psychodrama. I think it's inconsistent, but this is, I feel like this is Psychodrama too, in almost every sense of the word. Like, I feel like you can map every song on this album to a song of Psychodrama and be like, oh yeah, they are the same song. So for example, We're All Alone, kind of like Psycho, right? The beat switch, the piano at the end, okay, cool. Verdansk, basically Streatham, isn't it? Three Rivers, Black, just extended. System, Try to Be Location. Heart Attack, Leslie. You know what I mean? Like, Survivor's Guilt, Drama. You're laughing because you can kind of see it, right? And so I'm thinking, damn, this is fucking Psychodrama too? Like, what the fuck? Like, do you know what I mean? Don't not all of it, right? It just feels like some things were done on a better scale. Like you said, his lyricism. To some extent, I feel like everything about Psychodrama was just exaggerated. Like, you have even better lyricism, but you have even more fucking one-liners that you just don't need, or you're just overemphasizing. Do you know what I mean? You have more good beats, you have more bad beats as well. Like, it's just like everything's just. Do you know what I mean? Even the runtime's longer. So when I see this, I'm like, oh, it's fucking Psychodrama too. But then it's just, I feel like it's so inconsistent, and people will never. I don't get why people don't want to say this, because, like, what is this album really trying to say? I don't fucking know. I'm sorry, I don't know. Like, you can add this whole, like, you can try and bookend it with the Survivor's Guilt and talk about it's a film for your mum, and you can try and start it out with, all alone in this together, right? You can try and add that to make it act like it's all bookended. But if I actually get into the meat of this album, I'm like you said, there's so many like different shifts in pace, genres, subject matters. I'm like, whoa, like, damn, we're just at Three Rivers, now we're at System. Like, what the fuck? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? Like, 1 minute you're talking about, you know, the watch is a classic roadie, then you're talking about how you're saving a guy from killing himself. Like, what is, like, I'm so confused at what's going on. So yeah, I think Dave still hasn't, like, I feel like he's very ambitious with the stuff he wants to. He's very ambitious with his concepts. Like, I think he goes into the studio thinking, yes, I want to do this, but it feels like maybe age, experience, it kind of always makes him fall short. Like, it always feels like he feels compelled to release certain types of songs, even though it doesn't fit the album concept that he's going for in any sort of way, and it sticks out to people whose music. Like, it's so obvious, right? Like, yeah, and I think that's the part that really gonna irks me. It's like, if Dave was more focused, then he would be so much of a better artist. Like just him just being more focused and just being like, okay, no, I know people want songs like Stretton, but it doesn't fit this, so I'm not going to do it. Just having like that, like confidence to do that would mean so much.
So what would you have wanted?
Artist.
Would you have wanted more of Three Rivers, Heart Attack? Would you wanted a full-on like 50-minute?
I mean, if that's the goal, then that's the goal, isn't it? Like, there's smarter ways to do it. Like, for example, if you listen to, again, we're going to talk about Tip and Butterfly again here. It's a heavy concept. This guy's talking about the devil, the God finding himself, the industry, kidding himself, all these things. It's not like this album sounds the same or it's boring throughout the whole thing. Some people may find it boring, but I don't think it is. You still get songs like Hood Politics. You still get songs like King Kunta. Like, there's ways to go about this. So it's not like I want you to be like in your depressed bag the whole time. But okay, if you're going to have songs like this, how does this actually tie in? Like, if you are going to be so forthcoming with this album concept, like, it's not just a name, you're going for a whole concept, then stick with the concept. Don't just like bail out halfway through. That's what I want. Like, don't just decide to opt in and opt out with songs. Oh yeah, okay, back to the concept. Okay, let's just do some random song. Okay, back to the concept. Like, that's the part that really irks me about Dave so much. Like, because it feels like a lot of other things are there. Like, yes, he can spit, you know what I mean? Like, his production has gone a bit better, but like, the focus is just, it's like, do you want to be Fredo? Do you want to be J. Cole? Which one is it right now? Because I'm so confused. Like, I don't really get it. So that's I think that's the general thoughts I get with this album. Is there a song you want to kind of touch on to begin with?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of your points. I think inconsistent is definitely true, because there are definitely much higher highs on this album than there were on the previous album. But the lows are probably similar. Because, I mean, Psychodrama had a lot of like hits, had a lot of like big songs, and Clash is a big song, but it just doesn't work for me. And I think it's a big song, but I didn't even like it when it came out that much. So let's start there.
Yeah, let's start there. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So yeah, Clash with Stormzy. Is it the third song on the album?
Yeah.
Third song on the album. Boy, I thought this was...
Fuck me. Okay.
No, I thought this was like a boring, like superfluous victory lap of a song. I did not see the need for this. The beats are a bit more exciting than the previous songs. For me, one of my least favourite songs in the album, probably top 2 worst. I'm not buying Stormzy on this. I think he sounds hella bored. I think he sounds really bored. When he comes on, he's doing that like... Yeah, he's doing that like really laid back flow that he does, that he did on those, like on the diss tracks to WAITT last year. He's coming in like,
yeah.
It's like, dude, like, what's going on here? Yeah, I did not like it. It's like, Rolly's got 21. I've been lit since 21.
Okay, when you say it out, so we're like deadpan about. Okay, fair enough.
Cool. Dave's bars are okay on this. Again, nothing special. Tory putting in Labour, that Jeremy Corbyn one. I didn't think that was cute.
I don't fucking get it.
I don't know
bro.
about you.
It's like,
I was like, cool, I get it. Word association.
No,
No,
No, I
I
don't
don't
get
know.
it either.
I don't know.
I mean, okay, you know what? Yeah, when I first heard Clash, I was like, Jesus Christ, this album's gonna be a train wreck. I don't know what the fuck was going on. I was like, if this is your lead single, bro, like I am very
Just
concerned.
rename it Crash feat Stormzy.
Literally. And the thing is, because literally the whole song is about watches, I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, Dave, like, I mean, Dave, you're smarter than this. Like, you're smarter than this. Like, this is not the best you can do. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like this is so late. Like, this is so lazy. I will say, though, I am not going to lie, this song is, like, annoyingly catchy. Like, it's annoyingly catchy. I will say, and I do think Stormzy is a better part of this song. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, again, we're not talking about the best song of this album. I still think the song is very, below. I think it's below average, but I think he had some nice lines where he's like, boom, boom, bailiff one. It was funny, do you know what I mean? Or when she's like, she says she want to go to the cinema, so we just walk downstairs, the mortgage cleared.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He had some
But
cool
then
lines,
also the fact that this is on this album and he's including subliminals at Chip.
Yeah.
If I'm Dave and I'm like, okay, cool, this song's going on this album. I don't know what order it happened. But if he's already got this album in mind and he's like, this song is going to be on this album, I'd be like, Michael, can you take that line up, please? This album's really personal. It's going to get really deep. I don't want you to be like just including stupid lines about Chip.
You know what? A little birdie told me, John, that a manager was involved and kind of pushed for Stormzy to kind of use this track to,
really? To increase hype.
This,
to get it to number 2 in the charts, which it did.
Much.
Yeah, oh boy.
Which it did. Well. So, but yeah, I mean, we're here for the moments, guys, not to make good albums. I don't know what the fuck you thought this was. So, okay, I'll take it to the next song. So, let's get, you know what, I was going to say, let's get the shit ones out of the way, but that would be fun. We'll say some of the shit ones when they are. So, let's talk about In the Fire, right? So, you know what? So do you know who else should have been on In the Fire, John?
Who?
Captain America. Fucking.
Thor,
G.I. Joe.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? We should have had everyone there. Fucking Scooby Doo, Ariel. Like everyone should have been on In the Fire. I hated that conversation, John. Like everyone was fucking like. When everyone was just basically trying to list out all the UK rappers they know,
yeah,
and what like, oh, do you know who should have been on it? There's other UK rapper that I like. Oh yeah, Kano, Skepta, like, okay, whatever, man. Like the people there are the people there. But let's not talk about that. Do you know what I mean? Like, so do you know what I mean? Like, how long do you want this song to be? Like 15.
They wanted that end game scene where everybody flies in.
Literally, like. God sakes, man. Like, you know what you could just do? Just make another song with the people you like. Just be like, oh, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, whatever. Okay, so we have some uncredited features, which I thought was a bit weird because one thing I have noticed, right? A lot of the uncredited features are the smaller artists. And one of the credited ones are the bigger artists. So Snow Allegra, Wizkid, James Blake, they're all credited. Yeah. But in the smaller ones like Fredo, Gets,
Gigs,
Georgia Smith,
Meeks.
Gigs, yeah, they're not
Manchester
credited.
rapper Meeks.
So I again take from that what you will. But I think it kind of showed maybe there's some surprise element to that, fair enough. But like I said before, it does feel like this album, when I saw the track listing, I was like, yeah, he's definitely trying to go for number 1. Like no doubt. Like, there's no way Dave thinks, yeah, do you know who I need on this fucking song? Snow Allegra, mate. Like, there's no way. I'm sorry. There's no way. Sorry. But we'll get to that. We'll save that. But yeah, In the Fire, I actually think this was Dave's best performance on the entire record. I think his verse was absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal? Yeah. And I think it's verses like this that really make you want to believe in him. And just for the record, I think I always have to say this because I know people lose their fucking minds. I like Dave. I don't like you lot as fans, but I do like Dave. That's the thing. But it always feels like I have to bring people down from he's the best ever to he's decent. Even though I'm there, I'm at he's decent. But when I bring people down from he's a 10 out of 10, it makes it seem like I'm a hater. I don't hate Dave. I think Dave's a good artist. I listen to Dave all the time. I think he's fine. But like he's, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I always say to people, he's UK J. Cole. Same weaknesses, same strengths. But on here, and this is kind of what is slightly concerning, right? Obviously, I feel like when you are with good rappers, you are very competitive, right? And it feels like maybe Dave has some sort of motivational kind of aspect to him, which for me always signals a short career. I'm not saying that he's gonna have one, but like the fact that he went so hard when Gets was on a song, and he did the same thing with Lil Bo Peep. It feels like when he's with artists that are like, okay, this guy's fucking sick, he just turns it up a whole nother gear compared to when he's by himself or when he's with an R&B singer. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. That's kind of just like, I'm not saying like it's rooted in all truth, but yeah, I thought David really.
A lot of artists do that, though, don't they?
Yeah, no, 100%. But you want them to kind of still maintain a level of consistency outside of that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Fredo was really good on this. I don't know why people were shitting on him. I think he was really good on this.
I know who I didn't like on this was Giggs.
Yeah, I think everyone would agree with that. Again, I think if you're going for the name value, everyone loves Giggs. I think Giggs was very late on this one. But then you lot this is what I don't get, right? Like, you lot have been letting Giggs get away with this shit for like 10 years, being like, oh my God, it's so iconic. It's so iconic. It's like, okay, and now you've gone bored of it. It's like, oh, why is he always using the same flow? It's like when girls date a guy, it's like, oh my gosh, you're so funny. And then it's like, everything's a joke to you, isn't it? It's that classic old meme, isn't it? Like, you don't let Giggs get away with this for like the past 15 years, and now it's like, oh, he's a bit boring, you know? It's like, I could have told you that from ages ago. Like, this guy's been boring for fucking years, man. You don't just want to be like, UK legend? Oh my gosh. Giggs has been subpar for so many years now. I think we just need to come to terms with that. Sorry. So yeah, Giggs wasn't good enough. I think everyone else was decent. Gets was absolutely incredible.
Incredible.
Like,
yeah.
Incredible. So,
it's like fully energized. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I love that line where he's like, nobody puts baby in the corner. I uplift my girl like I'm Swayze in the water. Oh,
yeah,
too good. Yeah, no. I'm a big fan of this, and especially as it comes after Clash as well. You're like, damn, this is what happens when there's like, I much prefer the production on this as well to Clash.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah, Giggs, man, he was like,
100%.
Stung then, can't walk in my shoes. You could be risking a bunion. What is that? What?
I know.
He has a lot of interesting lines here.
It means like something like analyze. I'm the analyzer. I'm like, oh, okay, man. Okay. But then I don't expect anything from 2021 Giggs. Like, I really don't. So yeah, I wasn't surprised by that at all. But overall, good posse cut. I know people kept comparing it to Game Over. It's not the same fucking thing. Just because you haven't heard another posse cut from UK rappers doesn't mean you should compare them all the time. Game Over and In the Fire are not the same song in any aspects. Please stop doing that. It's just free features.
What do you think of production on it?
Great, love it. This is. I mean, you should do this more often.
That's lovely.
Yeah. It was so good. And I think how everyone kind of stuck for most people, especially Fredo, kind of stuck with the whole fire concept, and they all kind of did it in their own way. I thought it was fucking sick. I thought it was really fucking sick. Like, nothing to complain about apart from the skit at the end, which we'll get to later.
Dave Sarsfield was very good though. Anything you want to quote from it?
When he's like, Tutankhamun, there's money in skeletons. Like, fucking hell, man. I was like, this guy is going off. Like, Dave was absolutely. This is like peak Dave. Like, this is like, okay, wow, he's elevated as an artist. And he had something about I scored a Polish. I was like,
oh yeah, he's like immigration. They took me from my mum's arms. Fuck a gun charge, 2 swords. I'm Ronin. And there was Blasikowski. I'm trying to score with the Polish. Yeah,
crazy. And then he's like, I could have been the forward. That's the definition of a fight or flight. Oh, that is clever. Those are the type of bars I want from him. Not these like stupid witty one-liners. Like this, I'm like, holy shit! Like this is fucking sick. Do you know what I mean? So
his triple entendres are like definitely improved.
Oh,
like,
100%.
Really improved here. I loved it. Yeah. Cool. Let's go to.
Should we get to another question?
Yeah, go on. Let's do it. What do the people want to know?
That's the one. Whichever one you want to do.
Okay. Well, let's go for it. We mentioned production a little bit already. What do you think of the overall production, and do you reckon it's got replay value?
Ooh. Okay.
Interesting. Right. So production overall. Do you mind if I start?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think just as Psychodrama, like piano is the backbone of the album. I don't think anything's really changed there. Replay value, I don't yet know. It's 3 or 4 weeks in. There are definitely certain songs I'm naturally going back to. In the Fire being one of them, Three Rivers being one of them. System's a nice beat to listen to. I'll go back to that just to, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like replay value, I'll have to see. But I've enjoyed listening to it multiple times, with the exception of a few tracks. Overall production in terms of like how good it is. Like I was saying, I think one of the weaknesses is that it hasn't evolved a great deal. There are certain songs where you're like, cool, right, this is what I want more of this. And then there are other songs, like the first song, We're All Alone. I'm like, cool, right. We're starting off good. This is an interesting beat. Cool, you know, he's really been working on his craft. We saw him on Fredo, had some great beats he was producing. What's happened? He's cut the music. The song is here. Shit, here we go again. Like 1 minute 30 in, and you're like, okay, I already know where this is going. Yeah.
Just to add on to that as well, like production, let's just start with there. Very average if we're talking. And again, I think people really need to go out there and see what good production sounds like. I can't just be listening to like I Love You but I Hate You by Little Sims, listen to that and then go to this and be like, yeah, same level, mate. It's not the fucking same level. Like, I'm sorry, there's a whole different caliber of artists in this country, out of this country. And if you don't want to say we're just as good at the US, but I'm gonna fucking compare you to the US, aren't I? Like, this is not, it's not the same. Like, even fucking 90s Crabs in a Bucket had better production than this. And that's not even shade. Like, Dave, you have so much money behind you. Where's the samples? Where's like the orchestral? Where's the live instrumentation? That's one thing I've realized. I'm gonna ask you, John. Like, why the fuck has this guy not tried live instrumentation at some point?
I was thinking about exactly this on Both Sides of the Smile. So this is a song that James Blake did some production on. I'm sure there was a third or fourth person, but there were some lovely strings on this, but it wasn't live. And I was like, oh, you know, here he goes with the strings. I immediately think of Inflow, and I'm like, it's not live strings though. Yeah. Like, it's nice production, but yeah, why doesn't he go with some live instrumentation? I don't know. Yeah, he's stuck with the piano. The piano seems to be like the bread and butter. But with his pension for that, you would have thought there could be, some more live music. I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, like, and this sample, like, obviously In the Fire had a sample. That was kind of it, really.
And that was a good song. That was one of the best songs.
Exactly, it's one of the best songs. I'm not saying samples always win songs, but like, unless you're gonna go down the inflow route, then I think samples will be better use of your time. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that kind of surprised me. But yeah, I think production was mid. In terms of replay value, obviously hard to tell, but I think it will evolve the same way Psychodrama did. Probably a bit worse, if I'm being honest. Not because all the songs are worse. I just think it's just not as like coherent, this album. I don't think it's something you're gonna listen to in one sitting. Compared to, I think Psychodrama, you could a lot more than this. I think people pick their best songs on this one and go about it.
In terms of production, I want to ask you why, because I have not seen a bad comment about production on this.
Of course you haven't, Joe. Of course you haven't.
I mean, I haven't seen a bad comment anyway. But in terms of production, what do you think people are seeing from this and going, damn, like he's leveled up production wise?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I actually don't. I think maybe the moments rather than the whole album. Because if I hear In the Fire, one of the biggest songs, okay, maybe.
I don't think they're even thinking about that though.
Yeah. Both Sides of the Smile, maybe, but that's it. Everything else sounds very Dave. 20 to 1 had a good production.
Yes.
that's the most it had.
Three Rivers was like, there were strings on that, but I felt they like meandered a little bit. I don't think they necessarily went anywhere. It's a moving song. The piano obviously worked, but if you look at these songs, I don't know what you're seeing in terms of evolution.
Yeah, none of them evolve either. Like, none of them evolve. Like, none. That's the thing. Like, when I hear Three Rivers and I heard the singers in the background on the chorus, I was like, you should do more with that. Like, do you know what I mean? It's a big topic to touch on as well. It's like, you want people to stay engaged. Like, develop that production. Do you know what I mean? But no, none of that, man. Like, I mean, maybe a little bit at the end of Lazarus. But that's it. Like, I don't know what people are saying. I think people just don't know what good production is. And I'm not saying that as shade. I just don't think people listen to enough music to be like, oh, this is actually sick. Or I think some people don't even know why they like a song. Like, the feeling it gets them is because those little changes throughout the song kind of, it's a journey, isn't it? Like, end of the song, you're like, oh shit, how the hell do we end up here? Raw, like, that's mainly production doing that. And I don't think people even I don't think people even notice that, to be honest.
But I mean, obviously the piano bits, they're moving, but I don't think it's not an evolution. He's doing that before.
That's saying it's not evolution. Like, the production's very same to Psychodrama.
Heart Attack has the nice nuance of having, you know, the beating heart going on.
Yeah.
And I think people will be like, that's the next level. What? Fucking hell. It's cool. It's a nice touch. I'm not going to shade that, but I just find it funny when people will pick up on something like that and be like, oh, no, Dave is just levels above. Like, come on, this guy.
Yeah, I don't really get it. Or like, you know, 20 to 1 being at 40 minutes in.
Yeah,
it's a good song. Okay, no, let's touch onto that one, right? Heart Attack. So yeah, so this, he basically kind of, it feels a bit miscellaneous, right? It feels like all the other topics, he didn't have any other songs, he kind of just slapped on here. And the first thing I thought about, I was like, oh my gosh, you are so J. Cole, it hurts. So remember what I said about J. Cole kind of touching on something but not expanding on it? I'm like, wait, that was interesting. Go back there. Like, you know when he said on Pride is the Devil, or, you know, still remember vividly the Nick put a gun on me. I'm like, why are you talking about this other shit? Let's hear about that. Dave does that like multiple times throughout this song, where he's talking about, like, you know, his mum got pushed down the stairs, allegedly, or, you know, his ex-girl's father was abusive. I'm like, what the why are these throwaway comments? Like, what is this? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and the thing is, and I get why he has this struggle. I can 100% guess it from a mile away. It's because he wants to be a rapper with a private life. And I get it. But if you're going to wear your heart on your sleeve, you're going to make this, like, conscious, serious music, you have to let some things go. And J. Cole has the same issue of not wanting to fully share himself, but then it shows in your music. So, I mean, obviously, some stuff, like, obviously, the song is very powerful, right? Very powerful. I'm like, damn, like, yeah, I wish some of these little things you said were fleshed out more. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I can hear that. But yeah, overall, still a good song.
Yeah.
Very powerful. Very powerful.
I liked it. I mean, the heartbeat is a nice touch because it works. I mean, the whole song is kind of talking about, you know, you're kind of like teetering on the edge of like life and death. And the heartbeat kind of takes you to the hospital, doesn't it? Like hearing the kind of like the heart monitor, the ECG, whatever it is. So yeah, I like that. It's a nice touch. They're kind of talking about, you know, social exclusion, austerity. There's some great bars in here as well. Was it? We're fighting the world and we're fighting within. And then the line? This revolver is onomatopoeic. It's like, ooh. That's quite a nice line. Yeah. We don't need TFL for a Northern Line.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
So yeah, I mean, it was hella long, but there was a lot of really good lines there. The production, I mean, yeah, I was a fan. Like the stripped back guitar, the beat kind of comes in and out for the last 4 minutes, doesn't it? And he just kind of keeps going, and then the beat comes back in.
Yeah.
Did you like that?
It wasn't bad. I think this is kind of Dave's staple, right? He was always have like a long song where he's kind of attacking societal issues at large. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of his thing. If you want to have that, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? And I think with something like this, because I think obviously you want the words to hit, and I think that's why that acapella makes sense, right? Yeah. Like you want the words to hit. Like, you know, he's talking about stuff, you know, I wish I never did because I would have been a prisoner. So that's the shit that appeals to the listeners. You know, road ain't no amazing life. And like, all this stuff kind of like, yeah, he wants you to kind of really understand what he's talking about. So yeah, I think it's a good song. I mean, it's good he did it. I think if you're doing it on one song, it's fine. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I like the heartbeat, and then when it stops and he's just basically blacks out, really, he's just going insane. So yeah, I think it was fine. I think it was fine, really. One thing we should get into quickly before we go to the next question is these fucking skits, bro. And this is what makes me feel like this album was done recently. So we have fucking Daniel Kaluuya popping up on this album in a couple places. So he's on Survivor's Guilt, and he's on I think he's on Three Rivers as well. And obviously, as you saw, the whole Dark Skin Society, he was in LA with Daniel Kaluuya not too long before this album dropped. Like, very close in terms of, like, releasing it and, like, having it
Drake
finalized.
there as well?
Yeah, and Drake was there as well. So it feels like, okay, like, how recent were some of these, like, ideas made? Do you know what I mean? And it does feel like, yeah, like, I don't get how some of these skits connect. Like, it would just have, like, his mum at the end of Heart Attack. Okay, I don't really get what was that meant to be for. Don't get me wrong, it's heartbreaking, but it's like, okay, what's this meant to be? What is this here for? And then you have that guy, oh my gosh, that director, what's his name? Nathan Tete.
Okay.
On on In the Fire, and he's like, oh, you should go speak to Daniel to see where he finds stuff. And it's like, okay, well, how is this all connecting to
so
this?
His mum's on the end of which song? Sorry,
Heart Attack. So
yeah, I can kind of get that because a lot of these songs like relate to his childhood. Like Three Rivers relates to the journey of immigrants, and naturally you think of your parents, your ancestors who have immigrated from whichever country. So I get that. It kind of makes sense to have his mum telling a story because in the Fire there's him and four other rappers talking about times that they difficulties they went through in childhood. So I get that. I think it's a moving thing to have her on the end of it.
Okay, fair enough.
I enjoyed it.
Fair. Okay, cool.
I'm not sure about the Daniel Kaluuya one. I can't remember the exact.
There's two of them.
It says on it.
And, because when he's like it was kind of funny when he said, "I don't want to die for what I stand for. I want to live for what I stand for." I don't mean that sounds nice in it, but that doesn't make sense. It actually, I mean, by definition, the whole thing about dying for what you stand for is basically saying you believe in it so much that if I had to die, if I had to choose between believing in this or death, I'm going to choose death. Like you can't just decide, oh, actually, I believe in forcefully converting people to another religion, so I'm gonna live for that. Like you can't do that. You either die for what you stand for, or you don't. So and obviously at the end of Three Rivers, where he's basically talking about going against the tide and basically accepting himself as a black person and all that stuff. I get all these things, but again, it's like it's not bringing the album together as maybe they thinks it is, or even like when Nathan Tete pops up again on Both Sides of a Smile. I think it was like also, who's your Cinderella? And it's like, where the fuck is this coming from? Like, what has this got? Do you know what I mean? It's not. I think
the cameos were confusing. I get the skit with the mum. That makes complete sense. But
that makes sense to me. But the other ones don't.
It speaks.
Really.
The Daniel Kaluuya one particularly speaks to what you were talking about with. Oh, we're just going to put Snow Allegra as one of the biggest features. We're going to put this here. We're making sure Stormzy's going to be on Clash on the album, talking about Chipmunk doing the likes. It just
it just kind of comes across like I wanted number one, and don't get me wrong, he got it, but it just makes it feel like, and again, no one has fucking spoken about the skits because that's the thing, like once you start getting into the hard truths, people get upset. Like what the fuck does any of this mean? But okay, cool, let's go to another question. What other questions do we have?
Right, let us go to why do Dave's intentionally fun-spirited songs not resonate with some people?
Okay.
And obviously that would be Lazarus, Location, and System.
Okay, I'll start with that one. I mean, Location is his biggest song, so I think it resonated with people just fine. Sorry, mate. Like, regardless of what you think about it, that is his biggest song. And I think the reason why that song resonated with people is because it feels genuine. Like, I mean, straight up, like, I think you can tell that Burna Boy understood the theme of the song, and he kind of like, you can tell there was chemistry in the room when they made that one. Do you know what I mean? And it's very obvious. And don't know, maybe COVID is a big factor as to why maybe there's not as much chemistry on this album, I feel like. So, okay, let's take that. I mean, obviously, the other one's the System and Lazarus. Let's talk about those songs right now. Lazarus, right? Don't get me wrong. I think it's fucking hilarious, but this song is awful. Like, this is not even Dave being fun. This is Dave going to the studio, either very drunk or very high, and just thinking, fuck it. Put me on a beat, let's go. I can put money on Dave not being sober making this song. I'm like straight up, like Lazarus, and this is what I mean. And if any song needs you to confirm that Dave is all over the place in this album, it's this one. He's starting off the verse with political corruption, won't start to a government left, and then right after you're talking about if you got a body like Uche, texting out for your father's mortgage. It's like, okay, so what topic do you want to attack right now, Dave? Like, what is it actually going to be? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not J Hus. Do you know what I mean? Like, then it felt like he was trying to use that kind of formula. But the thing like J Hus is, one is he's funny, and two, he's a bit more focused than this. Like he's not gonna do this. Do you know what I mean? He's not to this degree where it's so stark. Like I mean, it's just I just don't understand what he's trying to do with this song at all. Like at all. System, again, I think the reason people don't resonate with this one is not because it's fun, it's because it just feels very like, oh, I'm definitely trying to make another location. I think it's so obvious. Like it kind of comes across inauthentic to me. Where it's like, oh yeah, cool. The whole Dave and Afrobeat artist worked last time. Let's run it back. Like I think a lot of people have said like Wizkid could do this in his sleep, and I kind of agree with that. It doesn't seem like Wizkid did anything special in this song.
Not
so
at
I
all.
think that's why.
It's nice to listen to. It's a good beat. It sounds great, but like Wizkid didn't add anything to this. Like.
Yeah, like this is like one of those like one for the girls. Like this feels like this like.
Yeah, didn't interest me particularly.
Yeah, what did you think of Lazarus as well?
Similar to you. I mean, I don't really have much to say. Like he was all over the place. One minute he's saying something, the next minute he's like, what is it? Pretty in pink, she bad her in blue, and just all these. Yeah. If you were me, you'd be arrogant too. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, another song we haven't really mentioned, I was going to say, was like Verdansk.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
I feel like, again, this is very...
flexing for the first half.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like it's very, like, archetypical of Dave. Like, it's just like, yeah, like, he's going to have that... It reminds you a lot of Titanium. Yeah. Like, a lot. And this is the thing with Dave that really irks me. It feels like once he kind of has a formula, he does stick to it. Yeah. Like, quite... Like, I feel like when I hear Streatham and Professor X, I feel the same song. When I hear Titanium and this song, I feel the same song. Do you know what I mean? It's like... It feels like sometimes when Dave is on this, like... And he has that throw, like I've heard it so many times. I'm like, oh, I can almost guess the next bar in a way. Yeah.
The beat does progress somewhat. I'll give him that. Like it's quite an ominous beat. I mean, I like that the instruments slowly build up and kind of there's like cello instruments in there as well. I think, but I feel like it wasn't necessarily like, it's hard to explain sometimes when you get like a slow build up of instruments, and it just felt like it didn't arrive at whatever destination they were supposed to be. Yeah. And it's hard to explain without listening back to it again. Go on.
No, I get you. Like, I think, because you had like the bass coming in on certain like lines where like my mum's got matching whips with Young, and then the bass drops like, oh, okay, cool. And then, he had like a lot of vocal layering on certain lines. Do you know what I mean? And okay, cool, I get it, but it doesn't... It just feels like you're just spitting bars. And don't get me wrong, that's not bad. Like, I think the song's decent, but it's not like, oh, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of, okay, yeah, Dave's spitting. Do you know what I mean? Like, right after we heard you kind of talk about saving a boy's life, what happened with Dykes? Do you know what I mean? Now you're talking about killing another man. It's like getting him airlifted. Do you see my problem with this fucking album? Like, it's like, I know.
It's a lot of just very corny lines. Like, I drop YGs, like, do it like Kalani. People like that line. I hate it.
And this is another thing with Dave that he really needs to get out the rut of. Stop prioritizing these fucking witty one-liners over full song concepts, because he keeps doing that shit, and it's actually annoying. It's actually like if you want to be like Gets, right? You want to be with the best of them. They don't just make songs off of this one cheeky line. They don't, and he does that throughout this whole throughout this whole song, but as well in other parts of the album, where it just feels like he's like, again, like double entendre is like his favorite form of lyricism, and he will keep going. He will keep rapping.
He does it well, but he also does it really badly.
He does it very often. But
he loves,
the song was all right. Like,
something he loves doing.
Got some lines in it where
he loves mentioning and doing it and doing like a number in a row, just really typical English girl names. He loves Nelly, Ellie, Betty, Kelly. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, he's always talking about one girl he's got from one area of the world, whether it's Sydenham, Compton, or you know what I mean, Loughton. Like he always does this. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just.
He's like,
yeah, I just.
How do you feel? He's like, I don't want to see her at Carney. I mean, like he doesn't want her to go out, and then he's like, oh, but I'm not unbeaten or misogyny. Feels.
I mean, no, it was I'm not on beat on the misogyny.
I got bougie wood. Yeah.
That's funny.
It's a funny line. It's a funny line.
That's a bar. But yeah, obviously saying he's not wanting to see out Carney, we can tie that to survivor skill in a minute because there's so many.
Yes.
That's what we talk about before we leave. Yes. But yeah, like I mean, he has some lines here. Don't get me wrong. I feel like the lyrical exercise is flexing, but
he can't help himself.
Yeah, he can't help himself. Oh, my bro Brick Lane, we don't know about Shoreditch. Like, all right, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all right. Like, you know what I mean? Like some of these things, like, I can't, like, or squash that beef like fruit and barley.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Okay.
But yeah. I think it's more for, like, the appeal. Like, wait, basically, I think it's more for the flashiness. Like, you know.
Yeah.
I took 100 bags from Barclays Bank. No cap, you can go and ask Eddie. Like it's just like, I'm thinking, oh, he's got money, not that's a bar.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. But you know, let's flip right over to survivor skill. This is what I wanted to talk about. And again, we spoke about it when Titanium Mercury came out. When Dave had a bit of adversity, we'll say, from the general public. I think He was having a good time on holiday, and people said, "Oh, we can't have that. That's not the right hue for you, mate." So, yeah, I think he addressed it on Mercury a little bit, but I think he went all in on this one, and in a way, I feel sorry for him because I don't think he needed to address it like this. I don't think he needs to explain his taste in women, and I think the fact that he kind of leaned into that.
Do you want to give a little background for people that
So the story, obviously, he was on holiday with like Fredo or something, and he was with women who the gist is they weren't black. I mean, some of them were white girls, which just girls having a great time. And obviously people found or sourced a picture of his ex, his ex from like secondary school, like he was with, like he knew her from the start and all of that, and she's like some Albanian girl. And obviously people are like, hold on, this guy made the song black. Like, what's I'm very conflicted here. So a lot of people get at him for that and digging up old tweets, things of that nature. You know how the story goes.
Yeah.
So then he even talks about it here when he's like, is that enough reason to bury me in the tomb? You know. What is that? My ex has got ivory skin, which is funny because reading the elephant in the room, like, okay, whatever. But it's not
I found that funny.
But like, when he said, and this is what I was saying, like, are you guys gonna call this bars? Sorry, I fell in love with an Albanian. I know it's mad. Why is it mad? Like, why is it mad you fell in love with an Albanian? Like,
it feels almost apologetic.
Yes, that's the problem.
Not that he's explaining it and being like, yeah, cool, this is what happened. Some of these lines feel a bit, I don't know. That one in particular is like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, literally. That's it's like, yeah, man. I know, guys. I know we're not really meant to do that. Like, do you know what I mean? That's how it feels. Like what? Like, why in the world? Like, I get it if you're just kind of saying stuff in the studio and it's all coming out, but who is that person to tell you? No, you know what? You don't need to do that. Like, let keep this one in the archives. And then I feel like this is where it kind of even progresses later on in this song when he's again, we're talking about like not letting this girl called Carney. Then he's like, black women, I just want to say I'm sorry. I've done a lot of shit. I won't lie to you. I want to be a voice for you, be a light for you. All this nice stuff, right? I know I haven't done enough. I want to try for you, but it doesn't feel like it's coming from a place of he maybe genuinely wants to do this, but it feels like he's apologizing for being on holiday with ambiguous coloured women rather than like, you know, he's actually done some shit wrong and he's apologetic for it. Do you know what I mean? What was the vibes you get from this song?
I think it's funny. I don't know.
Fair enough. I get the humour. I do think some of these lines
I think it's funny what you're saying, like that it feels that he's being apologetic because it's coming straight after, like, yeah, you guys found me out. When I was 16, I dated a white girl. I'm sorry. I'm going to change.
Yeah. That's the vibe I get. I can't help it. That is the vibe I get from this song.
Yeah.
The rest of the song is actually good. But it's just that section, where he's kind of basically explaining his preferences.
There's a bar about him, where I'd rather rap about arguing with my girl than fucking with your girl, but I don't mind because both are true.
See, that's a bar. I like that. I do like that. I can't lie. That is pretty sick. I mean, he does have some bars here. Like, the production is actually quite nice. I like Georgia Smith, vocals kind of walked in the background. I do, like, this is one of the songs I'm like, oh, like, everything outside of that bullshit. I was like, I'm with you. It was like, I wouldn't even trust my own shadow in the cabinet.
Yeah.
You'll die
for a wine like Joffrey Baratheon. Oh.
That's a good
funny.
line. That's funny. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think the song kind of got ruined by him basically just doing too much, really.
And then obviously you have Daniel Kaluuya at the end.
Yeah.
Any
other questions?
Was not the strongest song. What have we not really touched? Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about Three Rivers, didn't we? Did we kind of explain for people that haven't have we talked about it yet?
Not really. But I'll see if there's any other questions. I'm going to try and tie them in and wrap up. Let's see. Is there any other? What specifically do you want Dave to do to execute on Unlock? Okay. No, we'll keep that one for the end, actually. Let's talk about... So we'll talk about Three Rivers. Yeah. But I want to talk about Law of Attraction quickly. Yeah. Straight up worst song Dave's ever made. This is where he really can't help himself with these shitty one-liners. She's studying Law of Attraction. What the fuck? Come on, guys. Come on. Snow Allegra can't save this song. She didn't even try to save this song. She wasn't that good. No. J5 can't save this song. He's trying. He's fighting for his life on this one as well. Like, you're gonna break a bone if you fall out in love with me. Holy shit, man. Like, come on. And when he kind of breaks into some sort of weird, like, 2000s fabulous, like, flow, I put you in a truck with me. You stuck with, like, where is this coming from? Do you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like he just got gas in LA and some of these songs came out. You can't tell me otherwise. Like, what is this? Like, I put your name on a necklace. That's a chain reaction. Don't. That's some Big Sean level shit, man.
Yeah, that is.
Holy crap. Like, this song is straight.
It's a bad song. It's a bad song.
Straight up. Like we talk about Lazarus, you can talk about 20 to 1. This is the worst one, straight up. So,
and it makes sense because it's not a natural collaboration.
Yes.
The song is forced. It feels 100% forced. It doesn't. It feels clunky. It doesn't. Yeah. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Like it's. Yeah. It's very contrived. It's like, I'm in LA. Hit me up. Oh yeah, cool. Let's go to the studio. That's what I get from this. Like, another one because I can't help myself. X5.
Oh, come on! I was about to say that. No, come on.
Like, come on. Holy! I mean, you could keep listing them off. Santan, banking's our ability, but I'm still learning accountability. Like, In the Fire is on the same album as some of these songs. Like, come on, you can't tell me he's tried throughout this whole thing. But do you want to touch on Three Rivers a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it a little bit. I mean, it's probably one of the most emotive songs on it, right? Like, people that don't know, obviously, the Three Rivers being journeys of immigrants from the Caribbean, Eastern Europe, Middle East. Quite like a heart-wrenching story. I feel like this could have been cut down a lot. I mean, how long is the song again?
The skits make it
5.5 minutes. I think I clocked it and was like, it could be 3.5. There are a lot of these songs that towards the end, there's either just like this instrumental outro for a good minute and a half that I'm like, cool, skit. That didn't need to happen. Yeah. Or there's a skit that doesn't necessarily, with the exception of his mum on one of them, like they don't need to be there. Like they don't actually add anything of value to the song. If anything, they actually detract from like the seriousness and the vulnerability that Dave's actually giving us. And then cool, agreed. Daniel Kaluuya's just jumped on giving us some like business acumen. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think Three Rivers is like, you're halfway there. Like, I think this is where I think CJ tried to say in 5 years' time, what's it called? You'll be a 10 because it's like Dave. It's like I can see it. Like, oh, I see you're really trying. Like songs like this, are like I know what you're trying to do. This is actually a really sick song idea. Like I think this is really fucking sick. And then it's like, oh, but something just ruins it. Like, oh man, it was so close. Like again, I think the song idea amazing. I really like this is like black on steroids. But
So
like,
many brilliant lines.
Yeah, like. Oh, like so good. It doesn't sound preachy or anything like that. And the thing is, he's going through different rivers and he's going through time as well. I was like, oh, this is really fucking sick. Like this is the highs. I'm like, oh, damn, all right, Dave. Like, damn, showing me up. And then, like you said, like I think the production wasn't that great. I think instrumentals going on for way longer than they should. It reminds me of Screwface Capital on Psychodrama. That one went for way too long. And obviously the skit just like, okay, I don't really get why you're there, mate. 100% agree with you on that one. Like, I think it really detracts because I think the song idea is so fucking good. Like, I think it's really fucking good.
Really, really good. Yeah.
Like, really good.
It's like, imagine a place where you raise your kids, the only place you live says you ain't a Brit. They're deporting our people and it makes me sick because they're broken by the country that they came to fix. And he just keeps going on and on and on with these. Like, asylum's got them in a different war. They're key workers, but they couldn't even get in the door.
That's a bar as well. That's a good bar. That's a good bar.
I feel like there's a mention, I don't know if it's in this song, but there's like a mention of Priti Patel somewhere. Is there?
Oh, really? I didn't.
Maybe it's just failed disguise at her immigration policy. But
yeah, maybe. But yeah, you can't talk about like what's happening right now in the Middle East. Yeah, like something like obviously, especially right now, way more potent, right? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, but I feel like the thing about Dave, right? I feel like sometimes his age hinders him more than his mind. Like sometimes it's like, okay, like you're not. I think you're aware of some of the problems that are happening in our society and the world around you, and maybe you don't know enough or you haven't done enough like studying and traveling to fully express this in song. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that happens sometimes. I think this one, like, don't get me wrong, he's done a good job of it, but then I feel like when he's talking about other topics on the front of the album, it's like, oh, like, man, if you just kind of sat with this a bit longer, or you actually had, do you know what I mean? Like, then maybe this could have worked. Let's get to that. So let's loop back to that question that we were asked. Yeah. So it was like, what is it? What specifically? The way this question is worded is like, what is it you want?
What you guys want? He's done it. Come on.
What does he have to do? What does he have to do?
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead. Okay. What specifically do you want Dave to execute and unlock in his music? Continue.
Cool. I feel like he's unlocked a lot in this album in terms of better lyricism. I feel like there are some songs where you can see that the ability to produce songs that are like In the Fire, right? Well-produced song. Both Sides of the Smile, well-produced song. He just needs to unlock consistency. I guess quality control and like a lot of these things also come with maturity. So like we say this, but we fully recognize that he's 23, and I don't think a lot of you guys do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like, we recognise he's 23, but at the same time, we're like, well, yeah, it wasn't, a lot of this just wasn't that great. Like, some of these songs just weren't that great. So yeah, quality control, taking out songs that just don't need to be there. Clash should not be in this album. The Snow Allegra song, like, trust yourself. Like, you are, you know, the country's appointed you the prodigal son. Like, you don't need to have Snow Allegra on that album. Like, I feel like you're going to go number one anyway. I don't think she needs to be on there at all.
Agreed.
I'd say just back yourself in the concept and just go for it from start to finish. Like,
if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I mean, like, it's a concept album. Like the cover, the title. You've got 5 or 6 songs which are like fully in the concept, and then you've got 4 that aren't. So it's not like it's not like I don't enjoy fun-spirited songs. It's just that they shouldn't be next to that if they're not going to fully tie in, and they don't. Yeah, they don't tie in.
And the track listing is just, man. People, this is where track listing is so important. The track listing on this is not good, not good. But what I want to see from Dave, execute, focus. He needs to stick to an idea and stick with it throughout the whole thing. Start how you intend to finish, right? If you want to talk about mental health throughout a whole album, then that's what you wanted to do, right? I'm not saying it's the greatest concept in the world, but if that is what you want to do, then stick to it and stick to it well. Again, prioritize fleshing out whole song ideas instead of witty one-liners. The emphasis on witty one-liners need to stop. Like, I get it when you're young and you're rapping, but you have enough skill to not rely on these anymore. You need to let those go. Much better production. So either spend more money on getting better production or take more time or both. Like, get samples, get people who do live instrumentation, really take it up a notch. Like, and you can bring your piano. You can bring your piano with you. You can bring your little Steinway and Sons. You can do that. You can do that. Like, but we need more. We need more, because then every song's gonna sound like another version of the last. Like, I already feel like this sounds so much like Psychodrama, and I feel like there's so many ways where it surpasses it, and there's so many ways where it doesn't, and that's why it feels like it's just like exactly the same, really. I think those just consist like a focus and overall I'm talking about focus. I think he just needs a focus and better production, and I think that easily makes him like a significantly stronger artist. Like wow, this guy is much stronger. Because I think right now, if you compare him to someone else who's also 23 in Corday, right? Corday is about to be on his second album. He dropped his first album in 2019 as well. You can see the difference, man. Like, Corday is way above Dave's level. You can see how much talent this guy had and how much he's kind of grown from that, even from his EP. You're like, holy shit, like, this guy is... Do you know what I mean? So I get what you mean by he's 23, and don't get me wrong, he still has time, but it's like, look at what your age mate is doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things. Like, Corday had the kind of some issues as well, where he was prioritizing. Like, I feel like with Corday, it was like he had an over-reliance on features. I don't think all these, but I think he was very J. Cole in his delivery, and now he's kind of amped it up, and like, okay, now he's got the lyricism, he's got the cadence, he's got, like, to me, he's kind of seems to have got everything. That's what I want from him. I want him to unlock that side where it's like, okay, yes, I don't need to always need to rely on my lyricism. Or, do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. I think, you get what I'm trying to say, do you know what I mean? Like, I think, like, this just needs to be more, he just needs to become more of a well-rounded artist. Where it's like, okay, it's not just about lyricism, it's about production, how you fit into that, it's about cadence, how you switch out, different flows.
I would like that. Because,
do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think we said, but obviously in We're Alone, he did it first song. That's nice. There was a flow switch up with the beat.
Very Fredo-esque, by the way.
It was nice. It was really nice. But
it was really nice.
Cool. It would be nice to get some different flows. To summarize, so that you don't say we rambled, to summarize, answer your question, we said more consistency, stick to an idea, focus. I'm going to add in pick your features wisely. Don't make them superfluous to the song or to the overall kind of theme. Be more consistent in your production and sort out the skits.
But even then, that's like, even if the skits, I'm just saying, like, what would just easily, like, what would make the biggest difference is just a focus. Like, if out of all those things, if he just had some focus, it would make his music significantly better. It would take it from like a 6 to an 8, maybe.
Yeah, if you replace those 3 songs that we didn't enjoy at all with 3 more songs of like the second half of the album, songs of that caliber, it would have been a much, much better album across the board.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that's it. 2020. I got nothing to say about 2021. Come on, guys. I got nothing to say about that one. So yeah. It came in 40 minutes during the album. See what Dave's prioritizing. Anyways, this is what I'm fucking trying. I mean, whatever. I got nothing to say about that. It's yeah. There we go.
It's the only song I've got no notes for.
There you go. So I mean, you got any closing remarks? I think we kind of did well with that final question, but any closing remarks?
I mean, it's there are some really good highs. Like, you can't fault the topics, the themes he really gets into. There are meteor tracks where he like fully goes in. Like we talked about 3 Rivers. Like, what a beautiful song! Like, his poetry, his lyricism has really improved. You can't fault that, and I think that's definitely something people have picked up on. For good reason. So yeah, some really, really brilliant songs in there that we'll definitely be listening to over and over.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, till next time, David. Till next time, we'll be here. You're doing okay. You're doing okay. There's you're not perfect yet, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're only 23. A lot of guys have been rapping 15, 20 years, and you know what I mean. It's not an easy game. Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, as always, you can find us on Instagram at the Vinyl Collective Pod. Vinyl Collective Pod. No, there. You can find us on Twitter at TVC Pod. Wherever you're listening to us, you can also find us on all of the other platforms. So that's Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, Google Podcast if you're on there for some reason. And yeah, check us out on there. Email us at vinylcollectivepod@gmail.com. And yeah, that leads us on to the only thing left we have to say, which is we have a playlist out called Now and Then. It's the best playlist around. Each week we pick one new song from the last year, 2 years, and then we pick a throwback song. Could be 10 years old, could be 20. I think we have a couple of songs that are from the 1960s on here, so
we do.
Could go all the way back. You can start us off because I'm still picking my Now song.
Thanks. My Now song. Oh, I don't know why I always find this one harder. I always do, but my Now song. Okay, no, it's fine. My Now song will be Freestyle by Fredo. Absolute fucking banger, mate. Yeah. Holy shit. And my then song. Can't Tell Me Nothing, Kanye West.
2 Kanye's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Love it. Cool.
Banging song.
Right. Okay. I'm going to start with my Now song. It's going to be... My Now song is going to be Knees by Injury Reserve.
Okay.
I like it the more I listen to it.
Fair.
It is weird, but it is really good. Have you heard it yet?
Not yet.
Oh, I do recommend. Yeah, that is a brilliant song. And my then song is a song I mentioned earlier. It's not that old. I think it's just 3 years old, but we'll call it then. It's Pip Millay with Love the Things You Do.
Cool.
Yeah.
As John mentioned, check them out on our playlist. Yeah, as always, remember, check us out on the usual socials. Vinyl Collective Pod on Instagram, TVC Pod on Twitter, Vinyl Collective Pod everywhere else. Yeah, I mean, you got any harsh criticism? I don't really give a fuck. I already told you, John. Send to us at vinylcollectivepod@gmail.com or just at us. Be pricks. Leave a comment on the
where we are
section. I don't care. Yeah, you know where we are. Till next time, guys. Yeah. Peace.